Inayat Khan, was born on the 1st of January 1914 in Moscow into an Indian family whose history united royalty, spirituality, music, and resistance. Her father was Inayat Khan, a celebrated Indian Sufi preacher and classical musician who played a central role in introducing Sufism to the Western world through lectures, writings, and concerts across Europe and the United States. On his mother's side, Inayat Khan was a great-great-grandson of Tipu Sultan, the Tiger of Mysore, the ruler of the South Indian Kingdom of Mysore, who famously defied the British East India Company and died fighting British forces in 1799. Tipu Sultan became an enduring symbol of resistance to British imperial rule. Noor's mother was Aura Ray Baker, an American from New Mexico who met Inayat Khan during his travels in the United States. After embracing Sufism, she became known as Amina Begum. Although Noor descended from both spiritual leadership and royal resistance, her upbringing emphasized ethics rather than politics. Her father taught that spirituality was not withdrawal from the world, but responsibility within it. Each day, Noor and her siblings were given a moral virtue to practice: patience, honesty, compassion. And each evening, they were expected to reflect on how they had lived it. After the First World War, the family moved to England and later settled near Paris. When Inayat Khan died in 1927, Noor was only 13. She took on much of the responsibility for her grieving mother and younger siblings, becoming the emotional anchor of the household. Quiet, shy, and deeply introspective, Noor pursued her education with determination. She studied at the Sorbonne and trained in music under the legendary teacher Nadia Boulanger. She composed and performed on the harp and piano, wrote poetry, and developed a serious literary voice. Her poems, written in French, were published in Le Figaro. In 1939, her book 20 Yataka Tales was published in England, drawing on Indian and Buddhist moral traditions and revealing her lifelong commitment to ethical storytelling. In 1940, Nazi Germany invaded France. Noor and her family fled to Britain. Although she had been raised with pacifist ideals and respected Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, Noor and her brother concluded that Nazism could not be confronted through moral appeal alone. The speed and scale of Nazi terror demanded action. Noor joined the Women's Auxiliary Air Force and trained as a wireless operator, where she proved highly capable. This led to her recruitment by the Special Operations Executive, Britain's clandestine wartime organization responsible for espionage and resistance in occupied Europe. Despite doubts from her instructors, who felt she was too gentle, too honest, and emotionally unsuited to deception, Noor was sent into occupied France in June 1943 under the code name Madeleine. She became the first woman deployed by the SOE as a wireless operator in France. Within days of her arrival in Paris, the Prosper resistance network she was detached to was dismantled by the Gestapo. Noor escaped arrest and became the only SOE wireless operator left in Paris, maintaining the vital link between the French resistance and London. Wireless operation was the most dangerous role in clandestine warfare. German direction-finding vans could locate a transmission within minutes. The average life expectancy of a radio operator was 6 weeks. Noor continued transmitting for more than 4 months, constantly changing locations, carrying a heavy transmitter, often working alone. She repeatedly refused orders to return to England, believing that leaving would endanger others. She worked tirelessly, becoming both wireless operator and courier, delivering messages to and from the resistance fighters. In October 1943, Noor was betrayed. Evidence strongly indicates that she was betrayed by René Gary, who provided Noor's address to the Gestapo in exchange for money. Noor was arrested and taken to Gestapo headquarters at 84 Avenue Foch in Paris. She refused to cooperate during interrogation and attempted escape on 2 occasions. After refusing to sign a declaration promising not to escape again, she was deported to Germany under the Nazi Night and Fog program. Night and Fog was a secret Nazi decree issued by Adolf Hitler on the 7th of December 1941, ordering that political opponents and resistance helpers in occupied territories be arrested, executed, or made to disappear without trace. Victims vanished into the Reich, leaving their families and communities deliberately ignorant of their fate, often never learning what happened to them. In 1946, after the war, Vera Atkins, Noor Inayat Khan's superior, opened an investigation to determine the fate of her captured agents. She traveled extensively across Germany to various prisons and prison camps, and painstakingly discovered the fate of them all, except one. That agent was Noor Inayat Khan. Finally, she got a break when she was contacted by Yolande Legrave, a French woman who had been arrested and later released by the Germans, who wrote that she had encountered Noor at Pforzheim prison near Karlsruhe. War crimes attorney Alexander Nicholson later identified additional witnesses who confirmed that Noor, using the name Nora Baker, had been held at Pforzheim and singled out for harsh treatment. A Gestapo official named Max Vossmer, who was in charge of prisoner transports at Karlsruhe and accompanied the women to Dachau, testified that he witnessed the execution of Noor and 3 other women. Another Gestapo official, Christian Ott, gave a statement to U.S. investigators after the war as to the fate of Noor and her 3 companions. Ott was stationed at Karlsruhe and volunteered to accompany the 4 women to Dachau because he wanted to visit his family in Stuttgart. Ott told investigators what Vossmer had told him. In 1958, an anonymous Dutch prisoner asserted that Noor was cruelly beaten by an SS officer named Wilhelm Ruppert before she was shot from behind. Her last word was reported as liberté. The woman, once judged too fragile for field work, had shown exceptional resilience. After making 2 escape attempts following her capture, Noor was kept in solitary confinement, manacled, and given the lowest rations permitted. Atkins was especially keen to question Hans Kiefer, the SS officer who ran the prison at 84 Avenue Foch in Paris, where suspected spies were held in relatively comfortable conditions in hopes they could be persuaded to cooperate. Kiefer's post-war testimony confirmed Noor's refusal to betray information and her repeated attempts to escape. Convinced of her extraordinary courage, Vera Atkins pressed for Noor Inayat Khan to be awarded Britain's highest civilian decoration for bravery, the George Cross. In 1949, Noor Inayat Khan was posthumously awarded Britain's George Cross and France's Croix de Guerre. In 2012, a bronze bust of Noor Inayat Khan was unveiled in Gordon Square, London, near her former home, by Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal, formally placing her among Britain's most honored wartime heroes. In August 2023, Her Royal Highness Queen Camilla unveiled a portrait of Khan at the Royal Air Force Club in Piccadilly. Noor Inayat Khan is remembered as a woman who carried the legacy of Tipu Sultan's defiance, her father's spiritual discipline, and her mother's spiritual leadership into one of the darkest chapters of modern history, and who met it with courage, integrity, and unwavering moral resolve.